Today we're joined with Mod Alfred,
Yeah.
Mod Kieran,
Hello.
Mod Ash,
Hello.
and myself, Mod Archie. We also have Mod Ronan sitting off stage, and Mod John Steele will be saving the sailing questions towards the end of the stream.
And we have Mod Dank Meme at the far right there.
Mod Bucket, our good friend Mod Bucket. This is actually a t-shirt we're being given away, as well as a couple others signed over the competitive tournament over the weekend. That's starting at 5:30 p.m. BST on Saturday. Look forward to that.
Does it come with 3 cushions? Because at the moment it seems to.
It does not come with the bucket or the cushion. Disclaimer. Cool. First question. Mr. Amnesia asks, could we see a new hunter monster? I don't believe the best hunter XP in the game should come from the wilderness. Do you think this is a valid argument, or?
I don't know about the thing about the wilderness. I'm very happy for there to be something in the wilderness worth going there for.
Right.
But I'm very happy also to have things in Hunter above the levels that there currently is any content. Because it's kind of dead at it's not much above 70, which is not good given where all the XP is to be gained.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was an idea last week that I did like rather a lot, which is to have some little snakelings to hunt, and that you kill them as you capture them so that you can get the scales off them to have an extra source of silver scales that comes from skilling.
I think that we should, well, on the subject of hunter, I think that we should not enable people to drop their black chins whilst in the wilderness. I just think it's I don't know. I don't like going because I peek it there quite a lot. I don't like going there and then seeing a level 50 whatever with loads of black chins, and I kill him and I get nothing because he's dropped it all.
How would you like them to behave? Would you like them to fall on the ground as an item that you can pick up?
Yeah, pretty much.
They run away.
They're meant to blow up.
Of course, if they just fall on the floor, you would have to wait a minute for them to show up for you. Of course.
It doesn't make sense for an explosive chin to be dropped to the ground, and then you get to pick it back up. I think you should be running after it as they run away, and maybe you can pick them up. And then sometimes they explode and kill you.
Or you should explode on his foot and kill him.
Yeah. All that.
Look at Alfie thinking he can kill people in the wilderness.
Oh, what are you talking
This is why he's only killing people that are just
Best
innocent chin catchers.
Chin catch.
They're in the wilderness. You know?
Right, but as far as a new monster for Hunter, do you call him a monster? I guess, yeah, new NPC to catch.
Hunter target, whatever, really.
Yeah.
I think we know what we mean.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Next question. Toons asks, can we have the ability to imbue the Amulet of the Damned? Saying it's just not used enough, and the Fury is just simply better. So he's asking to imbue it to bring it up to the standards of the Fury.
Do you ever find that people get fed up with having to imbue things?
There's a lot of imbues lately.
Because I wouldn't mind just improving the Amulet of the Damned.
Yeah, so that's fair. It does degrade, it's not... I mean...
Had a few suggestions about what it could do to buff the Barrows sets. Not, of course, Guthans and Daroks and... might be. You know, there's a lot of Barrows brothers. I know who they are. But it would be nice to give a bit more love to Torag and
definitely.
Virak.
Is that how you say them? Is it Torag?
Well, I like the word Torag. It sounds like you clean your toes with a
I'm glad you said that. I was like, Torag, Virak.
Well, I just thought it's like the name Vera, which sounds like an elderly lady, and it's nothing like the Barrows brother, which is not an elderly lady.
Arim or Arim?
I think it's Arim.
Arim.
I've always said Arim.
This is not...
Someone asked me the other day about Ardoin, that's never been settled.
This is not going to be a very productive Q&A, is it?
Torag.
So, yeah, again, guys, we are saving the sailing questions towards the end of the stream. Look forward to that. But this next question actually has an image. This one's from ODF, who asks...
Apparently it doesn't.
We can't show the image, sorry.
It's your hand puppetry.
Can we get this sweet hairdo? You might have seen this one on Reddit. So, all right, I'm going to explain this. If you've seen Johnny Bravo, right?
Yeah.
Do you have that here?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I don't have Johnny Bravo's hair.
No, do you have it? Did you have that show here? Do you know who Johnny Bravo is?
Yeah, I do know.
Okay, it's just a
Bravo.
big, it's a big
like
thing.
You look like
It's a big swirl of hair, just like that.
Yeah.
All right. The question is more hairstyles. Ronan, this is not funny. Boy. We already touched on hairstyles last time, and it was the same answer. It's just basically like small little cosmetic stuff where they shouldn't be taking priority over the big stuff.
No.
All right. Next question is from Airport, who asks, well, this was going to be saved for later. But let's do it. Can sailing have a whale boss? This isn't really
Oh.
a real question. So,
I think, yeah, it could. I mean, it would be
realistically
like
speaking, though,
okay, probably not a whale. Maybe something like a whale,
yeah.
just not a whale. But
A peckish
Whaling's
whale.
kind of cruel, and we don't want to have that in our fantasy world, thanks.
yeah,
Yeah, you think about how controversial that really would be.
you could have a monster, just not a whale.
Yeah.
A great white shark.
Yeah, no.
No, okay.
I think a shark is more suitable because people don't really mind so much.
Apparently, there's a picture.
Oh, we do have the picture of the hairdo. There you go.
Oh yeah,
Thank you.
Getting
Good
there's
and
the,
Lord, what the heck's that on his head?
It's not really the Johnny Bravo,
That-
actually. That's
that-
just a weird one.
So if you wore a berserker helmet, would that come out as well?
Is that a nose?
It goes through your helmet.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that. We're going to go into the next one, actually. So we'll leave the chat to think about that one. They seem to be kind of for it. It's a good laugh. It does come with the sideburns, obviously.
I thought you were like just describing like Justin Bieber earlier, but
Beaver.
Bieber. You know, hair up at the front or whatever.
This stream full of banter. Macon asks, this one also has an image. Can private messages be visible even when the chat box is closed? That's a good question.
I would like that.
Yep.
I was up for that. In fact, I did it in the first draft to resizable, and then it was pointed out that it was inconsistent with how RuneScape had been before, so I changed it again. Putting it back is not hard. I did have the question of whether it should drop down to the space where the chat box goes, or just stay hovering above the empty space.
I personally would say drop down.
So long as
Myself.
you don't have it kind of hopping up and down like a yo-yo,
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
which
agree.
isn't a deal breaker for me. It can hop up and down like a yo-yo very happily.
I would prefer to see it, I think, along the tabs there at the bottom,
Okay.
just personally. And of course, if they don't want to see that there, they just turn the private chat off, or maybe it's toggleable. Yeah.
Would anyone really object to that? If they don't want the private chat to appear like that, they can always turn off the split private chat altogether.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
It's useful at the moment that you can hide it, take screenies, but you'd still be able to do that if you still have split private chat for a minute.
Yeah. So it's not a massive project then.
Oh no, in fact it's almost bringing back something I did before.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Next question. Mr. Pan asks, with the XP tracker now here, can the adventures log be next on the list? Not very similar, really.
No, the adventurers log.
I don't see the connection here. But
Well, here's an update. Let's have another one.
yeah.
The adventures log is a big web job. That's the problem.
Yeah, just
See,
big updates.
Yeah. Now the web team have very kindly given us those GE pages, and they're meant to be doing some poll changes for us as well. But the adventures log is a very big one. It's going to take them a long time. They don't have a lot of time really, because every other department in the company needs them as well. So realistically, I think the adventures log is not likely to happen at all. Now we can look at things we could put in the game to try and track that information for you. The way we did with boss kill logs, we can try and add a lot more of that tracking into the game. But I don't see it coming on the website like RS3 has, sorry.
Okay. As the chat has pointed out, we did get Zoom today, also in the stream. So there you go. We had an ash cam going on. It's very nice.
Could we have possibly the events log from the adventures log? Could we have that in game? Is that possible?
Something of the sort might be possible. Wouldn't care to say exactly how, but I'm sure we could come up with something.
Yeah. Because I think that's the main feature from the adventures log that people like, to be honest.
Was nice. For what it's worth, the RS3 people, of course, who have it, the team looked at the statistics of how many people actually look at the thing. I mean, the intense people do, but it's got pretty low traffic compared to the rest of the website, which is why spending all that web team dev time to give us one is just not as beneficial as all the other things they could be doing instead. Like, if they had the time to do that poll job I've asked for, then we could really improve how our polls go, and maybe reintroduce some features that could do with repolling. And I think that would help Old School as a product more than the Adventures log would.
Okay. So as far as big updates then, what is our next big update?
Cerberus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when's that? Can we say when that's coming out?
I
Not
think
next
Maz
week,
is starting
but
development on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
So not next week, probably the week after, hopefully.
that's the plan.
Basically ASAP though.
Oh
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
Awesome.
but don't expect it next week. give you some other stuff for next week. Been working on the clickable compass for a start, and I see no reason we shouldn't be able to get skill total worlds.
Yes, that was the other big one. We'll save that for a question later on. Another big one that we've been discussing, and we've said we'd like to pull, but hasn't been pulled yet, loot share. Yes.
Yeah, due to, availability of staff over the summer, we've had to put that one aside for a little bit longer. But it's something we still want.
Yep.
I expect loot share would pass. Coin share's an extension to it, not so sure.
Yeah.
So we might save that for a later poll, or indeed give it a separate question at the very least, so that people who want loot share but didn't like the influx of coins from coin share can still get what they want without the drawbacks being on the poll.
That's fair. Cool. All right. Almond asks, after quick hopping, can you make it so that we don't have to re-enter a bank pin? The only time we should enter a bank pin is when we first log in.
There's a small engine job I want for that. Once we got it, yes.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Next one's for sailing. We're going to save that for the end. Husker asks, can you remove combat restrictions from Slayer? Saying he's a peer with 80 Slayer and wants to partner with his friend who's higher combat, and he simply cannot do some of the tasks like Iron Dragons and Dags.
I believe this is part of the table rework that John is going to be doing. Yeah. However, the Slayer masters themselves will still have the Slayer requirement, but currently I believe you need 100 combat to get a Dark Beast task.
Yeah.
Obviously, players can do that at lower combat, really. It's possible to kill them, so let's not restrict the players from doing it.
Yeah, if we can remove that combat restriction, then if there's nothing
all you really need is pretty melee, and you can take on Dark Beasts.
Yeah.
So
indeed, that's what we pitched in the poll, and it passed. So hopefully John will get that one to us soon.
All right. 352 asks, when will the tournament worlds revert back to normal worlds? This is somebody whose home world is now a tournament world. Is requesting it switched back. So that'll actually be this next coming Thursday. I believe so, because we're taking them out after the tournament, which is happening this weekend. So there you go. Have your home world back, and the tournament worlds will go for the time being, and they'll be back sometime in the future.
Might even be possible to do midweek if we just reboot that one world and change the flags.
Yeah. All right. Bieber asks, a while back you spoke of dyeing armor like the Graceful outfit. Any idea if we'll see this pulled soon?
To be honest, we just had a lot of other things that would have more of a gameplay impact to poll, and although we put in some graphical ones, it was other popular requests like the Ectofile teleport. Sorry, Graceful didn't make it this time. In the future.
Yeah. All right. Droid asks, when will we see the next clan update? Yeah. Clan systems.
Now that one's an engine one.
Yeah.
We envisage it's not going to get into 2015, sadly.
It's a big one then.
Pretty big. There's a lot of content work goes with it. Fortunately, Mod Maz is the clan expert for pretty much the whole of RuneScape, really, and we've still got her on the old school unit, so we'll have the support we need when we come to it.
Awesome. Maybe a bit of an advantage.
For what it's worth, clan things didn't do as well as I'd expected on the priority survey.
No, they
I
didn't.
really thought they'd do a lot better. It's obviously we're still going to have clan chat because we should. At the very least, you should be able to talk to your clans in RS3, and to be able to form and meet and chat to your own clan in old school is sort of obvious, a thing we should have. So even though clans didn't do very well in the priority poll, we still intend to give you that. Just, I don't see it being 2015. Sorry, we've got so many other things that players also want.
Well, it makes sense following what the priority poll showed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Renewed asks, many stores, most notably the Blast Furnace, are being intentionally overstocked by trolls so that Iron Man cannot buy supplies and the minigame becomes unusable. Could you change it so that the geez, I can't talk today. So that the store can gradually decrease the stock, much like the other stores. How exactly does that happen? How do the stores decrease in stock?
Stores, when they are configured, have a restock rate for the items in them. That particular one was configured not to do it in any finite amount of time.
Right.
So that is how it's meant to be. If somebody fills it up, then it's filled up. That said, we could have an Iron Man specific one, so it would have to be a Troll Iron Man messing with it. Of course, you do get Troll Iron Man.
You definitely do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're hard to make or get to Keldegrim. Or we could just do something hacky to that store so that if it's understocked, it doesn't recharge, but if it's overstocked, it does come back down again. Kind of hacky, but I bet I could do it.
Okay. Probably make a lot of people very happy. I'm getting a lot of spam in the chat right now from a group that's very vocal, saying XP locks, a topic we've spoken about many times. I'm imagining this is just for peers who don't want to accidentally get over one defense.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Alfie,
Would you like
you would
an
know
Alfie?
that struggle?
Yeah. Don't do an Alfie and get 2 defense. Or 13.
You have like 13.
Yeah, I have 13 defense now.
Mind you, didn't you do some of that for charity? Because I think you said that you'd get over a certain amount if you raised enough on a charity run.
I don't think we raised enough for that, for the defense levels. But I just got 13 defense for Adamant Gloves and Slayer Helm, so that's why I got 13 defense. 2 defense was an accident. Yeah.
I think given how
Hence
many people
XP.
have chosen not to get the Monkey Madness XP reward and base their accounts around the fact they can't go back there without getting the XP, if we gave them a lock that let them block the XP from that quest, that would be rather unfair to all the pures that have gone before.
Most definitely.
And
Myself included.
so that kind of XP lock is probably out.
Yeah. That's fair enough. After that spam there, everybody else was just like, no.
Yeah.
No. All right. Josh asks, will we ever get to see any new boss content with high-level skill requirements? For example, the Sarah boss at God Wars, with a 70 agility requirement. He likes that because, people who don't like to skill don't get in his way. You have anything like that for something like a mining requirement, or?
Well, Cerberus is going to obviously have a Slayer requirement, and so will the Abyssal Sire, whether you call Slayer a skill or it's related to combat. Yeah. But I certainly wouldn't mind seeing skilling requirements for bosses in future. It's a way to restrict it to players who are dedicated to training those skills.
Technically, with skill total rules, everything becomes high-level skill content.
Yeah. I'd say it has to be relevant, I would hope. It doesn't make more sense to go to a boss that you kill and it needs like a rune crafting requirement.
Yeah.
I can easily see
the
the boss is inside a cave and it's all caved in. You need to mine your way through. Just
or a fire
that sort of simple mechanic, you know. Yeah.
Let your way through.
Or like that armadillo from the armadillo quest in RS3, where you need a decent mining level to be able to use a pickaxe that can damage the thing.
Right. All right. So we're going to be actually popping over to Alfie, showing off some really cool, in a bit, not yet, don't worry.
Sit.
Actually, we're going to, I'm just kidding. In, give or take 10 minutes or so? Yeah?
Yeah.
He's got some really cool stuff for the tournament that he's made.
Yeah, some
He's showing off.
UI stuff and some videos that I can show off.
Yeah. I'll prep you guys for that. Stay tuned. But for now, a couple more questions. All right. Use asks, when in the bank, can F keys change the bank tabs?
The engine would need to be updated so that the server can tell what F key you've pressed and associate it with the tab buttons.
I'd imagine it would just be very confusing between whether you're trying to change your actual F keys.
You'd get away with it actually, because you can't see the side panels when
Right.
the bank's open, so only one thing would be visible, and that would be the thing listening for the F keys. That said, some engine work required.
Yeah. It would make banking in some instances just marginally faster. Like, it can't possibly be that big a deal.
So maybe not straight to the top of the engine priority list.
Yeah, I don't know. See what the players think of that. They're not too fond of that idea. Moving on. Shinigami asks, will we get to know the drop rate for the Jad pet?
Oh, that's
one
not
for
John's.
John.
Yeah.
We haven't
Question
made
mark.
this
I
public
think,
yet.
I think Maz, did Maz decide the drop rate? Or
I
John?
know what the drop rate is.
Yeah, we
So do
know.
I.
We all know. But I think it's more on them if they want to release the drop rate and when they want to.
Yeah. It's a secret for now.
For what it's worth, Ronan did technically confirm in the game that it was 1 in 3, and that the player who was saying otherwise was just very, very unlucky. But we might not trust him on this.
What are you doing saying these things?
Obviously, the drop rate is done in mind with the fact the fight caves takes a lot longer than just killing
It's 1 in 4.
General Grado. So
I'm seeing a lot of interesting numbers coming up in the chat.
You're all wrong. We will
It
tell
isn't
you
something
shortly.
like
Apart from that guy. Yeah.
it isn't something like 1 in 5,000 like some of the other pets.
We will tell you shortly. Just not today. Yep. All right. Happy asks, can the XP drops fall down instead of rising up? Was this done originally?
We kind of copied them off a version where they did rise up. I suppose we can make them go down instead. The
Another
benefit
thing to add to
seems
the
somewhat
list.
marginal.
Yeah. It's really preference. When they go up, you do see them first because they're right next to your
Yeah,
character.
that's what I was thinking. I much prefer them going up. They appear right on your character, or just above, to the left or right.
Yeah, depending where you have them.
Yeah. makes more sense for them to go up.
I think we've got that one as, well, we could, or we could do something else.
Likely something else.
Yeah.
All right. Slay asks, do you have an ETA on Total Level Worlds, and is it a big project?
Some engine support was required for it, and we have that. Therefore, it's no longer a big project because most of the work's done. Of course, we've got to get players to be happy with the numbers we choose, because somebody's going to lose their home world over this. Sorry.
Fair play. Has to happen.
They voted it in.
Yeah. Lucky asks, can the "you're already fighting someone else" or something else message be removed with the cannon? Or filtered, probably.
I think we could just remove it. I mean, it's not like you're clicking for it to trigger that message.
Yeah.
So I'd like to try and remove it.
I just think because it's not filtered by the game filter, but removing it sounds
Better.
just as good or better. Okay.
I know when the filter was being installed, I suggested to the developer that he have a go at, removing that message altogether. I'm going to assume he didn't manage it, but we can try.
All right. Aerodemus, I said that right, asks, can you give each... So this is an interesting idea. As of late, some party hats have been fluctuating in prices. Some are saying they're being hoarded, what have you. He's saying, can we give players a lot of party hats? Because the idea originally when they came out was that they weren't supposed to be a rare. They're supposed to be just anything anybody can get their hands on. Not supposed to be something expensive. Can you give everybody just a lot of party hats? Is pretty much his idea. Or perhaps make them purchasable from Diango for a small fee, like 1,000 coins. It depends how big of an issue this really is.
The thing is, at Christmas, we do give out a lot of party hats.
Yeah, just a lot of the player base doesn't get their hands on them.
Indeed. Of course, at Christmas, the player base can get their hands on them, and in fact can get their hands on quite a lot of them with all the little community events we run around that time.
So the complaint here is coming from, I believe, Blue Party Hats recently just passed 500k, just for a short period of time. Do you have one?
I
Yeah,
think
I do.
you may
It's a
find
bank.
that was actual people trying to hoard the
Yeah,
things.
that's exactly it. They can do that with any item, really.
Yes.
It's not exactly approved, but it's, just people looking at the party hats saying, these are supposed to be pretty much dirt cheap, and now they're not. This upsets me.
I think
Do something.
the issue with changing the price of them to like a fixed price, like 1k from Diango, it means that all those thousands of people that have spent their money on these items are now going to have that item completely crashed to 1k, which might not go down terribly well. Even if we do make them more common at Christmas, we've done it for the past 2 years, and I think changing how that works might make people that own the things a little upset.
I don't think there's anything we can do at all to party hats that won't upset a large amount of people. It's probably just going to stay how it is.
For what it's worth, we did today change the rate at which you can sell them on the GE, the buy limits. We changed the rate for party hats down a bit, so that people who have been hoarding them to try and do any bulk dumping on the market in a minute, will have to do it a little slower than they might have been planning to.
Perfect.
I intend to put that up again at Christmas, since at Christmas there'll be more of the things around, but this being August, it's quite a while till party hats come back.
Okay, cool. Joe asks, will free-to-play get any total level worlds?
I don't think we mentioned anything of the sort in the poll. We can very easily, if they want it, and I wouldn't mind, because I think free-to-play would benefit quite a bit from it.
That's what I was thinking,
I think we'd have to potentially poll it again, as the numbers that we stated in the poll question wouldn't really be useful for free-to-play
That's a good
players.
point.
Well, we wouldn't necessarily want to give them all of those, but there was the 1,000 total world, I think.
Maybe even set the threshold a little lower than that, do you think?
I think for free-to-play players, they've
Free-to-play,
got
the skills
a
they
few
have.
skills to level up.
And can they even get to 1,000? Like, I don't know.
I think more like 500 might be reasonable, to be honest.
That sounds fair.
Like cuts out those lower players who have only just started. That's what they want to get away from.
Well, the awkward thing about polling this one separately is that free-to-play don't vote. Maybe the members will be kind enough to vote the way they think the game should be.
Yeah, I think they should probably be. It doesn't concern them, so. Anyways, we'll go to the last question here, then we'll hop over to Alfie showing off some cool tournament stuff. All right. W Ball asks, can we have the ability to make fires on top of mithril seed flowers? So people that are lighting fires are getting trolled by people with flowers. It stops their path. Just a very small, minor thing, but is that possible? Put the two on the same square?
Expect so. We just check that the thing that's obstructing the fire is a flower rather than any other piece of scenery that we don't want them to delete.
Right. And so then what, the fire would delete the flowers then, or would they override?
I delete the flower.
Interesting.
What if the players put the flower down and hasn't selected that they wanted to leave it yet?
Then they will lose their flower because somebody set fire to the thing. And that's kind of rotten luck for them. But since a fire maker probably can't effectively grief a flower picker, then at least not more than once,
Yeah.
I'd expect it would be all right.
Yeah.
Could potentially solve a problem with another problem, though. I like seeing flowers actually, well, this isn't really useful, but I like seeing flowers become more useful as of late. People are learning that you can move with them actually while you're frozen, helping you escape in the wilderness.
Yeah.
It's nice to see them actually become kind of relevant.
Or griefing chin chomper bots.
Yeah, that too.
Chris, are you suggesting that flowers and looking swaggy isn't a legitimate use?
They've always had a very useful. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, good.
I love Fashionscape.
Don't talk down about flowers, Chris.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Okay, thanks for that, Ronan. So we're going to head over to...
put out a fairly good picture about flowers earlier today, so check her at Jagex Day to see the picture. It's worth it.
Where's my Twitter shout out?
No,
Come
You
on.
tweet up a good picture of flowers and I'll consider it.
I tweeted a picture with Mod Bull. All right. Well, they're getting set up, so momentarily we'll hop back over.
I'll talk
We can
about this
probably
first,
cover
and
another
just hop into
question.
anything else.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
All right. Juha asks, for Barbarian Assault, can the Queen kills stack up instead of being considered incomplete or complete in one use?
Oh, I like that.
I was looking into that code recently when I was trying to fix the infinite free points bug, and I think I understand it well enough to do that job now.
Okay.
It'd be nice if it would allow people to stack up their kills and then do all their gambles in one go.
So not
Rather than
terribly...
Go out, gamble, and then go back in and do another whole run.
My exploit's not open.
Would you see anybody voting no to that?
Don't see any reason why not,
Yeah,
to be honest.
that answers that.
Well, it's a perfectly legit question.
Go on, you do it.
All right. Seeing a lot of yeses in the chat.
Good.
Always nice to see.
Well, if there is someone who's got a strong reason to vote no, they can vote no.
Yeah. While we wait for them to continue getting set up, we'll just keep on tackling these questions.
He's made a V sign at us. Oh,
2 minutes.
okay.
2 minutes, 2 questions. Let's go. Unpred asks, can the GE web pages display items by limits and alc prices? By limits would be very useful. But is that information that we really want to make?
It's
that
information I
public?
don't mind us publishing.
Okay.
In fact, that's a place I would like to put it. In fact, it saves us trying to update a page manually whenever we change anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the rule, people know what it is, because if you buy the thing in bulk and you find that 4 hours later nice round numbers happened, you probably knew why.
Yeah. Who would take on that job then?
Well, the web team who made the pages will doubtless be open to bug fixing and feedback,
Yep. Okay.
as long as it doesn't delay the poll jobs I want done.
Diverse asks, can we see talisman stabs added so that players who don't have to go through the abyss, have to wear a tiara? Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Pretty sure I read like this word, then this word, then this word. But we got there.
Yeah, we can do that.
So there's something that's in RS3. Do you know what year that was?
I know I was still in RS3's team when it happened, so before 2013.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2011.
I thought it was a newer update, which some people might not say would fit with old school, depending.
Well, the ability to wear people have asked at times if they can combine the graceful hood with, say, the nature tiara. And while I do like that idea, I also know that if we start trying to combine the tiaras, all the tiaras, with all the interesting headgear, we're not going to get very far.
Yeah.
So doing it by letting you equip the tiara or equip the talisman to some other body part is absolutely fine by me.
And how would they get these though? The other question.
did the player have any? Well, the player suggested we just copy the RS3 one.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if you could put it in your quiver? Because most of the time you don't need the quiver slot if you're rune crafting.
Yeah, that reminds me of like God arrows.
Mm.
Which, by the way, they're asking for those too every week. All right. Anyways, I'll touch on that in a bit. But we've been given the go-ahead for Alfie's tournament stuff. You want to show that off?
Sure.
Go for it.
Okay, so before I show you any tournament stuff, I'll show you some stuff I've been doing on my my tap time, which is basically free time that you get to do work for RuneScape. So I'm making this is a small project that I had. I was making an intro for the Old School Runescape BTS videos, or the normal videos that they release. So basically it's just the RuneScape logo with the flag moving in the background. Originally I thought about putting a green screen on the back of it so that we could just have the logo whilst I was after I'd be video editing it. Then I deleted that and I just had the sky in the background. So anyway, I recorded this, recorded the logo with the flag moving, and then I put it into Adobe After Effects. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Oops. So let me open that for you. So this is what it looks like. So it's a bit animated. You won't be able to see the full resolution because obviously it's too large. So it'd move in, move out, and then bang, Old School RuneScape. Pretty cool. Anyway, okay, so now I'll show you some tournament stuff I've been making. Tournament. Okay, so originally I just made a cup, and I was going to use it as a still image. But I thought, why not make it into a video and use it for the tournament intro or something like that? So made the cup in Unreal Engine, put some funky lights on it and stuff to make it look cool, and then I put it into Adobe After Effects. Just put a bit of particles in the background, so some smoke and a bit of dust, as you can see. So it just spins like this. This will probably be, I don't know, an intro or something. I also have this cup with a green screen at the back of it, so we can have it spinning in the bottom corner whilst we're having the tournament on Saturday. So this will be pretty cool to see. There you go, it's a bit faster here. Okay, now I'll show you some UI stuff that I've made for the tournament as well. So we have quite a few screenshots of like the tournament rosters, who's up next, who's versing who, stuff like that. So I'll start off with some still images I made for the tournament. So as you can see, the cups in the background, other funky particle effects. Again, if anything bad happens, we have that. Yeah, so we had to keep to I had to keep to a blue and yellow theme, so I made another one with blue smoke. Here's a matchup screen, so you'll see before the matches start, or when Ronan and Chris are talking, they'll tell the audience who's playing and stuff. Here are some sliders. So who's versing who, and some other random sliders. A roaster. This is the old roaster. This is the new roaster. We have two roasters just in case something happens during it. And up next. Yeah, that's it actually. So yeah, those are cool UI stuff for the tournament. Yeah, that's me done. Roasters. Did I say it wrong?
All right. And we're back.
That's what we're laughing for.
Do you want to come join us? Be
Yeah.
part of the roaster.
For God's sake.
All right. That was
Nice background.
that was good.
Toast.
Actually, to be honest, we didn't have that stuff in the previous tournament. Also, Ronan's joined us. Also, the one
Hey.
bucket has moved. And we have TVs now. Cool.
Ow.
I totally forgot we didn't clap for your thing. And we
No,
do
it's
that
fine.
every
No
time.
worries. You're too busy laughing. It's fine.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
It was just.
Thank you.
It did look good. It did.
Anyways, last tournament we didn't have any cool graphics like that. Really, we had a couple small things we whipped up in the last hour or so because we were so rushy.
Yeah.
But now we have some really cool stuff, especially the turning cup, which looks really nice. So
Thanks.
yeah, well done. Cool. Back into the questions, and we're about to hop into the sailing questions. All right. Mr. Amnesia asks. Wrong question. Rock asks, could you implement an option in the goal XP counter configuration so the numerical value will count down to the end point?
I really like that. I wish I thought of that when I was writing it in the first place. Thank you, Mr. Rock.
So,
Rock.
can we explain for people who have no idea what he's talking about?
Okay, if you set yourself a goal in a given skill or in your XP total to, say, get your XP from 10 million to 12 million, at the moment the little number display just shows how much XP you've got, and the tooltip shows you what the goal is. So it might show you on 11 million going from 10 to 12. And what Rock's suggesting, I think, is that instead of showing how much XP you've got, it show how much XP you still have to get to reach your goal. So it would show minus 1 million in that case, instead of just showing the 11, which isn't very informative. I like that. In fact, I'd be happy to just do that, but although people might not want it changed.
I think it'd be nice, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd be up for that. It's not especially hard. Actually, I think we can do that. I mean, we're calculating the number in a tooltip, so there must be some way of calculating the darn thing. The reason it's difficult, by the way, is that in RuneScript we can't deal with any number over 2.147 billion, because that's the 32-bit int limit. Since your XP total can quite happily go up to 4.6 billion, if you had 200 million in all 23 skills and the possibility of sailing, we have to do quite a lot of extra fiddling around to subtract 2 XP numbers, which is a right pain, but I seem to have managed it for the tooltip, so I can do it for this instead.
Awesome. All right. Nonviolence asks,
What are those?
is Ronan wearing Crocs today? No.
I'm not confirmed.
The peer pressure has gotten to him. We burned them.
It's also
Truth
not
is
very
that.
warm in Cambridge at the moment.
This is true, despite it still being summer. Nonviolence asks, can Rigor and Augury be pulled separately and with the prayers not working in PvP? So separately is maybe a valid question, but PvP is a controversial one.
Good luck implementing that,
Yeah.
he says to himself.
Yeah, with Rigor and Augury coming along with sailing, we weren't intending on tying it directly to the sailing skill, so you're not going to have a certain sailing level in order to get Rigor and Augury. We plan to introduce it along with sailing. So, for example, people that get 2 new areas unlocked through sailing will be able to do something, get a reward of a scroll that they can then sell on to someone else who can grab themselves Rigor and Augury, something like that. So it's not going to be directly tied to the skill. You're not going to be forced to train that to unlock Rigor and Augury.
That makes sense. As far as not working in PvP,
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
I think
Yeah.
it's a little bit clunky. I think
It wouldn't make much sense with anything else really in the game.
what people are most concerned about, in all likelihood, is Rigor with a dark bow.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it would be a better way to go to just sort of cap the dark bow. I don't think it needs to deal any more than 96. So
Very much no.
yeah, I reckon that would probably be a nicer way to go about that,
Yeah.
if that is what people want.
I've seen that idea many times, so I'd say there's probably an agreement there.
Pretty much every time we suggest anything that will make range damage happen, we have to put a rider on it saying, and we'll cap the dark bow.
All right. Kiara asks, can we get left click fill all water sources for vials, watering cans, buckets, etc.? Matter of fact, there have been a lot of questions asking for just make all options, smithing, pretty much anything else that doesn't have a make all option. Said this before many times. Care to repeat yourself?
No.
No?
In the old school game, the make X features were how you trained your skills, and people did it for millions of XP. We are very, very cautious about just deciding that you don't have so much of that anymore. even when I did it in 2010 or thereabouts, when of course RuneScape was a very different place, it was kind of controversial then for people who'd leveled their skills and put in all the work and done the grinding. So what we've normally done when we come to automate something that's previously involved a lot more clicking is we make it just happen on a repeating cycle, like the way grinding is with a pestle and mortar. You use one thing on it and it will automatically grind all the other matching ones in your inventory, but it does it slower than a player who's good at clicking. So if you're good at your skilling and you had the click practice all done, then you can still go as fast as you like. We don't end up with something like POH in other RuneScape where they couldn't go any faster than the make X feature. But people who don't want to do all the clicking, it just happens slowly as they wait. The idea was to try and get a happy medium between people who just did not want to do all the clicking and people who wanted to still be able to do it as fast as they could before. Yep. And that people who were doing it slowly wouldn't have an advantage because they'd get lower XP rates than people who could click intensively. So while I'm okay with that kind of skill update, and we're doing it for the bone grinder in the very near future, maybe next week, I'm not so keen on installing make all features across every skill in the old school game.
Yeah. Well explained. I think it's about time to hop into some of these sailing questions.
Yeah.
Does
it have a make all feature on it?
A few. And we did want to save them for John, who might be joining us the last 10 minutes or so. But looks like we're just going to give him all to running.
Woo.
Our sailing expert. Cool. So Swoo asks, will there be Viking ships with sailing? Imagining Fremnik.
Perfectly possible.
Yeah.
All right, at the minute we have a. You guys will be able to see in the developer blog tomorrow. We've got a list of different tiers of sailing ships. All of this is not final by any stretch of the imagination. We've got a lot to work out still, especially after running it past the community. Tons of stuff that we can get ideas for different types of ships that we can use. Viking ships, I'm sure it's a possibility. We'll have to see.
That makes sense. Get like one for the Berserker helm, get a Farseer one at the front there.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, some cool ideas. All right, Iron asks, if sailing doesn't pass, can we possibly see Artisan repulled with reworked rewards? So just if sailing doesn't pass is the real question here.
I think the thing with Artisan is we offered it in a few different forms and all of them failed to hit 75% by a substantial margin. I think it would have to be a really, really big overhaul of the skill to justify doing it again, and I don't even know if then we could justify coming back to Artisan.
I really haven't seen a lot of people saying they wanted Artisan after all.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a few questions about where did it go, to which the answer is people didn't vote for it. But there's not much interest in bringing all that back again. I can't see it passing at all.
Yeah.
If sailing doesn't pass, it could also be that people don't actually want the skill.
Yep.
At which point Artisan is not the way to go.
Yeah. As far as if it is a matter of just a very small little detail saying, I would have voted yes, but this, it might be worth considering changing whatever that is and then repolling it. But if it is just a fundamental flaw with the skill and it's just not an interest.
I think the thing is there, we kind of took that approach a couple of times with Artisan. It did get polled multiple times with various different changes made and none of them hit the mark. So I don't think we can really say, maybe if we change this, it'll pass. I think taking that approach and just kind of throwing away the poll results like that probably isn't the right way to go.
Also, if we weren't doing sailing, we could almost certainly find some other big piece of content that people might be more interested in. Take raid dungeons, for example. We pitched it back in the day when we were writing the Zaya blogs as some dungeons where near the city of Kourend you'd go in groups to explore and find your way through these caverns randomly generated full of monsters and skill-based obstacles to try and bring back loot of whatever nature and earn big rewards. Sort of like, well, modelled on Dungeoneering but without trying to make a skill out of it and without trying to recreate all the Dungeoneering content, which is a vast amount in the other RuneScape. So if we weren't doing sailing, we could almost certainly find something big that might get people's attention instead.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to say, oh, well, we're not doing sailing, so we'll sit here for like 3 months or maybe go on holiday and do nothing. We'll do something.
Go sailing.
Just the idea of a new skill, though, as I haven't been here to see a new skill happen yet, and I'm really eager to see what it's like watching the climb from 1 to 99, and would enjoy to see that. All right, one for you, Alfie, maybe? Pickle asks, what's the sailing cape going to look like? What would it look like?
There was a Reddit post, I think.
Yeah.
Or was it, one of you sent me a picture of it and you were
It was
like,
one
this
of like
really
a,
nice.
a sailing boat.
Yeah,
quite
just with
suitable.
white sails.
I did see that post,
blue.
Yep.
but
Yeah.
I reckon that we would have to go with, you know, the original header on the website that sparked off the whole sailing conspiracy. We'd have to make it the same as the one.
Yeah,
there.
probably to do that.
That seems appropriate.
There was also an anchor, which looked
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good.
Yeah, that was a really cool
But-
icon.
Yeah.
We'll probably have to pass it through the community with a few different designs and see what they like.
It is usually the way.
Yeah.
One thing that was pointed out was that in April 2014, we did technically launch a sailing skill and allow people to get up to level 20 sailing before it abruptly reset itself.
How rude.
And it's been pointed out we should technically honour that and give them the XP if sailing comes out. Or not.
Yeah, all right. Snowy asks, can sailing be introduced through a quest? So we've introduced, well, summoning was through a quest.
Yeah.
Herblore.
It's through a quest that has nothing to do with herb
Well, would we introduce it through a quest? Is the
Something
question?
was introduced through a quest.
It's
kind of to explain the skill.
It's
Yeah.
a tutorial wrapped up as a quest to make it sound a bit more exciting. That was exactly what we were trying with the Wolf Whistle quest all that time ago.
I think we could introduce pretty much any piece of content with a quest. Whether or not sailing calls for it is another question. I don't think that, like, if we want to teach people how to do the skill, we can design it in a way which teaches them how to do the skill. We don't necessarily need to go down the route of having a low-level quest with some random reward. that-
forcing people to play through it.
What
Yeah.
you don't get is a very exciting quest.
Yeah.
Wolf Whistle was pretty funny because Mod Wilson is very good at that kind of thing. But if we were going to do a quest for Old School, which we do hope to do, by the way, next year, we'd like to, pitch it at slightly higher levels and have some more engaging gameplay in it, and not just do it as an excuse to have a tutorial,
Very fair
because
point.
we can have a tutorial.
And as far as understanding the skill, we're going to have many more very in-depth dev blogs, videos, BTS explaining everything, like
The approach
social-
that I'd quite like to take with this, and we have been so far, is kind of splitting it up in the dev blogs rather than doing one massive dev blog saying, here is everything about sailing, go and read this however many thousands of characters. And we got John here, just in time. We'd like to split it up. So, for example, in the first dev blog, we gave a fairly vague overview, and then in the dev blog that went up yesterday, we just clarified some key points, and then in the dev blog coming on this Friday, we're going to go into detail on leveling and what leveling will be and how you'll do it in sailing. By splitting it up, we hope that more people will consume more of that information and have a better understanding of exactly what it is we're offering, because it's not easy to present all of the information for a skill and have everyone see all of it.
Unless it's fire making.
Unless it's fire making, yeah.
all right. Maybe one for John, who just joined us.
Hello.
LV2 asks, will the achievement diaries be updated with future content, perhaps related to sailing? Maybe a task with Port Sarim for the Lumbridge diaries?
As awesome as it sounds, I'd love to do stuff like that, but that means removing all of the existing rewards when some new tasks come out from your banks, resetting variables, etc.
Yeah.
And then forcing you to go and do the new ones, which isn't really fun and doesn't have a great user flow to it. So it is possible, but I think we'll more likely to go down the route of just adding new achievement diaries.
Especially if there'll be new areas.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So sailing has brought a lot of really cool ideas. Here's just one of the ideas. Shifty asks, in sailing, can we build icebreakers in the front of our ships to break through icy closed-off areas that we previously have not been able to explore? There's quite a few areas.
It is a very cool idea, and yeah, with sailing, you unlock cool stuff and go to cool new areas. That's certainly a possibility, and I really like the sound of it. Hopefully, we
Yeah.
can incorporate it. Who
It
knows
actually
what-
makes sense.
Yeah, who knows what's north of the iceberg? Maybe there's
Yeah.
more penguins.
There's just so much potential.
There you go.
That's the thing.
It's a limitless amount of content that can come with opening up the oceans.
A couple more ideas here. This one's from Tyler, who asks, will we get to see...
Is that really necessary, eh?
Yes.
Will we get to see clue scrolls that involve sailing?
Yeah, so like a treasure map kind of thing?
Yes, this is actually apparently from Faux Freedom himself, who asks, or suggested, treasure maps that act like clue scrolls via sailing.
Yeah, I've already had that idea written down. I'd like it to be not something that's too common, because we do have clue scrolls, and we don't want to take too much away from that. But yeah, certainly, like as you're exploring underwater, you'd see inside a chest, you find an old treasure map, or even just pieces of a treasure map. It can all be like get
That'd be
three
really cool.
pieces, tie it together,
Yeah.
and you get like some super rare and super cool stuff from it.
Yeah, like a message in a bottle.
Message in the bowl, yeah, the
Yeah.
fishing content right there as well.
There you go. Speaking of fishing, there's a couple here for fishing. Will there be new fish to fish from our boats? New fish.
We can't do sailing without incorporating some kind of fishing aspect. Yeah.
Not whaling though. They're mammals.
Yeah, thanks for that, Ash. But yeah, hopefully some new fish. Where they'll go in sort of the food spectrum, it needs to be balanced and obviously discussed with you guys.
Definitely.
But we have to have some fishing content in there.
All right, cool. Rust asks, will Ironman be able to participate in group sailing?
That hasn't been sort of decided yet at all, but typically I would go with no, but we'll take it on case by case as it's not been designed. We can't really say.
Yeah,
But
that'd be
yeah, Ironman is all about being solo and whatnot.
cool. All right. Martin asks, will sailing make javelins useful? Perhaps a slow, long-range two-handed crossbow that can fire them at ships.
Well, ships typically have cannons. There's no reason that can't be like a ballista that fires
Yeah.
100 javelins at once at an island.
I'm talking like a wieldable javelin shooter here, though.
I was thinking it could sit on like the front of your
Yeah,
ship.
okay.
Would javelin shooter like a crossbow? Like huge.
Pretty much.
It's
How big is this
doable,
thing?
but yeah. Do you have
Like a hand cannon.
That's like
it's
a
yours and your demands, man.
Hashtag buy javelins.
Yeah.
Yeah, hashtag buy javelins. I don't know, I've got nothing written down yet, but I would do want to do something with javelins, but I also quite like that their one purpose is that they have zero purposes.
Yeah.
You know, you got to give them something.
Fair enough.
I guess.
All right.
Maybe we should have some content in there that requires you to have a certain value of items in your inventory. That's what they used to be used for in the other RuneScape.
Yeah, jump trains.
Got through a lot of those sailing questions very quickly, actually. I think our last one here is from Pineapple, who asks, when will we get to learn more about sailing? So when's the next dev blog?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, there you
Tomorrow's
go.
Friday.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Any spoilers, or do you want to save it till tomorrow?
Going to be going over leveling and what that will earn you and how you'll do it. It's pretty much just some of that. So, like I said before, we're going to be pacing it, doing kind of chunks at a time. So there'll be more and more information coming out over the month.
Yep.
All right.
I have a level
Cool.
up tape. Basically getting sailing skill guide.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it's very fair to go as in-depth as possible.
Yeah.
We definitely don't want something that's going to be like a 4 million word essay, but to try to sum everything up as much as possible.
Yeah, that's why we're
Yeah.
breaking it down into like a number of dev blogs over a number of weeks, and we'll have a video out at some point to summarise as much of it as possible to make it as
Definitely.
easy to sort of absorb for you guys as possible, because we understand it's a huge amount of information to try and design a skill, and we've still got so much of it to actually sort of fill in, which is where you guys will come in. Things like random events and story missions. There's so much space for like player design content to go in there.
Yep.
We'll be doing a special sailing live stream at some point, I imagine, as well.
Definitely.
Cool.
So
Alright.
you know those ruby, sapphire, and emerald dragons?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to talk about those?
Yeah, sure. I tweeted them. They
How are they going to be implemented into sailing and stuff like that?
I actually came up with the entire concept
Yeah.
over a morning coffee.
Yeah.
I needed something to put on a new landmass. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, we can make it gem related. Oh, we can do gem related creatures. Oh, gem dragons.
Yeah.
And it's not just dragons plonked on an island. There's going to be a whole sort of story arc based around it. I want to introduce a whole load of new stuff with it as well, like a new top tier gem that supersedes Onyx but requires Onyx. If you play RuneScape, it's going to be sort of basically the Hydrix of Old School, but not actually the Hydrix, if you like. They were introducing new jewelry, new top tier stuff. There's so much to come with it. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, the Sapphire, Emerald, and Ruby Dragons I quite like.
Fair enough.
And the only reason that you've seen them is because we could knock something like that up in, what, about 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes, quickly.
Content
Probably
side.
remodel them
Yeah.
later though.
Oh yeah, we'll give them
Definitely.
shiny new graphics. And the fact that it was level 525 was just a arbitrary number that I selected out of thin air. Don't worry.
It's a kind of cool idea, actually.
Yeah.
Gem dragons. Maybe on a dragon island.
I want to see the Onyx dragon.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Dragonstone dragon. It's got to be done. It's got to be done.
All right. So that about wraps up sailing and the Q&A for that matter. Got a handful more questions. We could try to maybe, let's go for a couple more real quick. All right. Pro Sailor does not have a sailing question, but he asks, there have been many suggestions to make the max cape more useful by forging different capes, like the fire cape. Will any of these be pulled? We did pull the stats of the fire cape.
We did.
About to be able to merge 2 capes together?
Might be more popular because it means that to have the thing, you've also done all the grinding, but you've also managed to kill Jad.
And it does consume your fire cape.
Yes.
Yeah, the fire cape's the obvious one to go in there. Maybe the Ardy cloak as well.
They've talked about the Ava's accumulator, the Ardy cloak, and the
Mage Arena cape? Maybe?
Not so much that I've seen, but okay.
That's best in slot, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But then, are we opening up so that every kind of new best in slot thing that comes in the cape slot needs to be added to that at some point as well?
Would it be a one, you can only merge 1 cape with it, or you can merge all of them, because then that is kind of like RS3's max cape, isn't it?
I honestly, I don't know the stats there.
If you're suggesting combining the stats
Yeah.
of the capes, I don't think that's a good route to go down.
Yeah.
No, that would become a very powerful cape.
Yeah.
We're talking plus
Just
10
a bit.
bonus.
Also, if we did let them combine all the capes, and then we release another good cape effect that they want to combine with it, then we've either got to do it automatically, or make them uncombine all their capes and start again, or say that there's different stages of thing in the order the updates came out that you have to keep adding more things to, and we end up with a whole different bunch of max capes with different properties each, which will be kind of confusing for everybody, including us.
Could we get a straw poll on that? Because one thing I was very keen to avoid when we first started discussing the max cape was it being best in slot, because you've got a whole lot of the community that likes to love to do combat, obviously, but don't want to go and max to get the best in slot items.
Let's just word that as, would you like the max cape to be best in slot? Yeah?
Yeah. Because I'd love to get just a gauge of
Right.
where the community sits.
So it doesn't necessarily have to have all of those crazy perks we were just discussing randomly. Yeah, just best in slot. Putting it on par or even slightly better than with the fire cape, or?
I'd be okay with it matching the fire cape
Yeah.
completely, and I imagine the community would be as well. But
Well, that's what didn't pass the poll recently, really.
Yeah.
What did that fail at? Like 70 something? It was close.
Something. I don't quite remember.
It wasn't that close, I think.
Is it not?
Yeah. Be an interesting one for a straw poll, for sure. And while we wait for the results from that straw poll, let's go to another question. So, this one's from this side, which is actually on this side. Zozo asks, is the Dragon Spear special attack, is it a bug or is it an intended feature?
it's neither. It's just something that kind of happened, and we polled removing it probably about a year ago now, and it failed. But because it's a long-standing feature of the game, that's the process we go through, and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
I don't think it was intended to be able to stack it up like that.
It can be very hard to tell what the developers intended with content they wrote in 2004 before they left the company. And in the case of that developer, he left England. So we don't know what was intended. It is the way it is. And that's how the old school game was in the old school days. So no, we're pretty cautious about changing that kind of thing.
Instead of polling removing it, how about polling potential kind of nerfs?
One of the things that's quite popular is the ability to do certain things in between it, such as get a gulp of food in.
Prayer potion, probably.
That's what I'm thinking, prayer, because the biggest problem is that people can be smited using this to get their protected item, like an AGS, for example, and it's putting people off taking the sort of weapons
It seems
into
like
multi-combat.
it allows them to stay alive longer than they should. So they hit 0, and theoretically they should fall to the ground, but they're still speed around for another minute.
We could just have it kill you when your hit points hit 0.
Yeah,
But
that
I'm not
makes sense.
familiar with the combat script enough to be able to make that decision.
Okay.
Well, I think there's a reasonable chance we could probably do something with it.
Another couple kind of fun ideas. Anti-stun armor, maybe a helmet that fights back and doesn't let you get speared, doesn't let you get stunned.
You could expand on it a bit, so it includes things like freezes, so entangles, and what have you. I'm familiar. I like that. Someone write that down.
That's interesting.
Kieran, write it down.
We've got it. Kieran's got the notepad.
That's an interesting concept. I'd like to see how that one goes down.
Yep.
Maybe it could just simply like reduce the timer.
That's a curious straw poll.
So we got the results back from that straw poll.
Same.
Would you like the max kit to be the best in slot? Yes, sailing, and no.
Thank you for that.
Well, someone did say straw poll sailing. I guess we just did.
Yes is winning with 46%.
Yeah.
But with sailing in there, that's going to take away from a lot of the yeses and nos.
There's not a clear cut ahead
There's
of it.
more interest in sailing than in not having the max cape be the best in slot.
That's fair. Yeah, that's kind of what you'd expect. Yeah, so I guess we'll end on that then, won't we? We'll have a lot more sailing questions for next stream, going a lot more in depth, especially after tomorrow's dev blog.
Yeah, I'll try not to put my car into the garage over next week's stream. Sorry about that.
And then we do have the competitive tournament being hosted tomorrow. Sorry, Saturday, not tomorrow. 5:30 p.m. BST, this Twitch channel.
Saturday and Sunday.
Well, starting on Saturday. All right,
Starting
Ryan. Definitely want to be there for that. Yep. Aside from that, well, thank you for watching. We'll catch you next Thursday. See ya.
Everyone.